These are the 10 greatest transformations in the history of my 600-pound life, and the weight loss only gets more insane as the video goes on, starting at number 10 with Angel Parish, who appeared in season 3 of the show and achieved a mind-blowing transformation, looking like a completely different person by the end of it. When Angel first appeared on the show in 2015, we were introduced into a family that was reaching breaking point due to her addiction to food, as her husband admits that he's very close to leaving her and taking their child with him.
Unless everything changed, I'd probably gonna take the kid and move on.
And it was hard not to feel bad for him, as Angel was shown to seemingly be choosing food over the family, weighing in at 550 pounds and eating at any available opportunity. This is compounded with the fact that her husband is her only caregiver, and because she can't look after herself, their son barely gets to leave the house and live like a normal child due to the addictions which plague his mother.
It's really affecting him too. He doesn't get to go outside a lot because I literally cannot leave the house for very long because she's not able to take care of herself.
However, things get turned on their head slightly when Angel finally makes a decision to see Doctor Now, as Doctor calls Don, her husband, the enabler.
Do you go to a grocery store?
Don goes and does all the shopping.
So you're the enabler.
This shared blame seemed to wake the pair up, and it caused Angel to embark on one of the toughest journeys she will ever have to experience. But with the backing of her family, she was about to surprise everyone. Dr. Now gave her a strict diet at home and the objective to lose 50 pounds at home in order to be considered for weight loss surgery. And although it was difficult, the vision of her young son finding her not breathing one day helped to motivate her. And this motivation clearly worked, as she completely blew past the 50-pound mark and lost a staggering 165 pounds when she next met Dr. Now, who was more than happy to see her.
You lost some weight, huh?
Yes, sir.
Can you believe that?
That's amazing, isn't it?
Angel was approved for weight loss surgery, which was successful, but instead of sitting around, she pushed herself even more, and the added confidence meant that she was actually able to go to the gym with her husband. Since the surgery and her efforts in the gym, the weight quite literally fell off her. She was finally able to take care of her son the way he deserved to be cared for, and it was only going to get better from here. After a year of training, she had successfully lost more than 300 pounds in total, more than halving her weight since she first appeared on the show. And she didn't stop there, with her now looking like this, losing even more weight since her episode aired. And this was the same for Diana Bunch, who attracted Reddit posts complimenting her with how young she looks since her episode aired. Appearing in season 5 of the show in 2017, Diana was 55 years old and weighed 601 pounds. She had a crippling food addiction which started at the age of just 11 years old, and it was for a genuinely heartbreaking reason, as she revealed that she was abused by 2 older boys. Since that incident, her weight spiraled out of control, and she now feels like a prisoner in her own body. Although her entire body is painful, her legs are by far the worst affected area, as they are covered by sores and ulcers as a result of her lymphedema.
I am being cared for like an invalid.
Although the last 55 years have been filled with pain and anguish, she decided enough was enough and decided to make the move to Houston to join the weight loss program under Dr. Now. And it's safe to say this was probably the best decision of her life. Although there were some difficulties in getting her to Houston due to the fact she hadn't been in a car for a number of years, her niece helped her out a tremendous amount throughout her journey, and she met with Dr. Now.
It's been a few weeks since I moved to Houston and had my first doctor's appointment. And I've been working to stay on this diet. It hasn't been easy though. Megan has been making all the food we eat.
Dr. Now put her on a 900-calorie high-protein diet, and although this seemed daunting to Diana, the realization that she was actually highly disabled due to her weight spurred her on. She really took to this diet too, swapping out fast food to whole foods and making more healthy choices throughout the day. Despite this though, she was initially not approved for weight loss surgery after she only lost 44 pounds in 3 months.
She still didn't make as much progress that she should have. So you're not approved for surgery at the moment.
Okay.
To hear this from Dr. Now must be totally devastating for any patient, but it especially hurt Diana after all of the perceived effort that she'd put in. This though may have been a blessing in disguise, as she finally started to take the program seriously. In the following months, she did eventually start to lose weight, dropping to 494 pounds before Dr. Now finally approved her for weight loss surgery.
So I will approve you for weight loss surgery, but only if your family family agreed to stay here in Houston.
Since then, she's managed to shed over 400 pounds and looks 20 years younger than what she used to look like, showing the effect weight can have on someone's appearance. She was due to star in a Where Are They Now episode, but pulled out of it due to not wanting to attract any more drama in her life, as she seemingly finally found peace. The next star, though, was not afraid of drama, after he and his brother actually sued the producers behind My £600 Life, despite the doctors helping him to turn his life around. At number 8 is Benji Bolton, who appeared alongside his brother David in season 6, and together they weighed a staggering 1,300 pounds, with Benji alone weighing 582.
The last time I had my weight checked, I was in the lower 500s. So I figure that's the range I'm in.
Benji weighed less than his brother, who at this point was practically immobile, only being able to stand for a maximum of 1 minute. And to Benji, this was like looking into his future, as he knew that if he kept eating, he would end up exactly the same. Fans in the comment section of their episode shared just how dangerous it can be for people to stay at this weight, commenting, "So proud of these two men. I wish my brother had this good attitude about losing his weight. He was at 400 pounds and a diabetic. He passed away in 2016 from congestive heart failure due to obesity. I miss him so much." As you've probably guessed from this heartbreaking comment, the two brothers did stick to their weight loss and thankfully avoided any serious incidents throughout their process, with both being successfully approved for weight loss surgery. However, Benji makes the list ahead of his brother as the transformation in his face makes him look like a completely different person and completely unrecognizable from the beginning of the episode. And the fact he lost an incredible 324 pounds, edging ahead of his brother's total by 5 pounds. Obviously, this is slightly less than Diana previously, but he takes 8th place just due to the fact he looks like a completely different man. However, like I mentioned at the start, Benji and David actually took the decision to sue the media company behind My £600 Life due to placing unnecessary stress and not paying their medical bills for appearing on the show. Although David and Benji helped each other through their journey, Olivia Cruz from season 2 of the show would have a much less supportive family, as they actively fed her pizza and sugary drinks, despite the fact she was eventually confined to the basement of their house.
Olivia's living situation is not healthy, period. She's in the basement. She lives down there because everything's on one floor.
Olivia admits she knows her weight is killing her, as we see her struggling to get out of bed due to her weight and severe lymphedema.
My weight is killing me.
Which, interestingly, only affects her right leg. It's very shocking to see this only affecting the one leg, and this has meant that she exists entirely in the basement of her mother's home, due to not being able to get up and down the stairs easily. Her mother does most things for her, such as bringing her McDonald's, sorting her oxygen tank out, and everyday tasks. The reason for her weight gain is similar to Diana's, and that's caused by the trauma of being abused when she was 8 years old, something which she kept secret for the next 30 years, ending up with her ballooning in weight in order to deal with the emotions.
I started putting on weight in elementary school. A lot of it had to do with bullying and molestation. I was molested at 8. I kept that secret until I was 40.
She actually had previously undergone weight loss surgery too, which in her own words didn't work, as she ended up back in the same place.
Went for weight loss surgery. I was 578. I was like, wow, how can you get to that weight, you know? The weight loss surgery didn't work. I know they tell you that you have to put effort, but I gave up on life. I just gave up on myself.
But the only difference now is that she's utterly depressed, with her admitting that she's even tried to take her own life. It's a really heartbreaking situation, but Olivia finally decided enough was enough and met with Dr. Now, who revealed her weight was 580 pounds. Dr. Now was actually concerned her depression might get in the way of her progress, but Olivia was determined not to throw away this opportunity to change her life. And she didn't waste this opportunity either, as she was approved for weight loss surgery, and she got down to 360 pounds midway through her journey, and it would only get better from here. She continued her hard work and lost even more weight, which was almost 400 pounds in total, which completely changed her life around and even allowed her to get a job as a chef.
My biggest dream has been to become a chef. to make food for other people.
Although she obviously lost a ton of weight, the biggest difference was in her mood, as her mental health dramatically improved after she seemingly found purpose in her life again. She not only lost a tremendous amount of weight, she made something of herself. And this is why she's in number 7 on our list, with Brittany Fulfer also having a noticeable change in her mood, with her being given the unofficial title of one of the most loved stars in the series. Brittany Fulfer appeared in season 4 of the show, and if you watched my previous video on the most loved and the most hated stars, you'll already know about her and her famous heartwarming smile and personality. But it didn't start out like that, with Brittany admitting to feeling disgusted by her own body and being in pain of every second of every day at the start. To make matters worse, she has a husband who, despite being the one to feed her, is starting to resent her due to the fact they are practically housebound together. However, fans of the show weren't exactly happy with the husband, with one comment saying he's not far behind her and he's feeding her. They're like two drowning people pulling each other down. Very sad. This was putting strain on not only their relationship but their health, considering that she was only 32 years old and was already putting her life at serious risk. When she met Dr. Now, she weighed in at over 600 pounds, which seemed to be the wake-up call for her, as her face showed genuine shock when she stepped off the scales. Her eyes were filled with tears as she was obviously trying not to cry when she spoke to the doctor, and although she was upset, she won the hearts of fans over by sharing her emotions throughout the show and being a genuine person. And fans were right to place their trust in Brittany, as she embarked on what can only be seen as one of the greatest transformations on the show. Although the weight loss wasn't done overnight and there were some bumps in the road where she weighed more than expected, she didn't let this affect her goal.
I have to have lost the 40 pounds the doctor needed me to get approved. Everything I've done has to have been enough.
Okay, 570.
After she had the weight loss surgery, she stepped on the scale for a final time weighing 272 pounds, dropping more than half her body weight. Dr. Now even believed she would reach her target weight of 160 pounds in the next few months, but this weight loss obviously filled Brittany with pride, and her famous heartwarming smile made one final appearance in Dr. Now's office. Since the show, Brittany has welcomed a baby into the world with her husband, and her self-confidence has obviously skyrocketed, which is the reason she takes number 6 in our list. And number 5 has a very similar story, with her self-confidence taking a similar trajectory to Brittany's. Amber Rachdi had one of the most heartbreaking stories on the show, and the sadness on her face was plain to see throughout her episode. At just 5 years of age, she already weighed 150 pounds, which is around 5 times the weight of a normal 5-year-old. Her parents, even though they clearly enable Amber to live this lifestyle and to get so large, call Amber names behind her back to the cameras and don't seem to understand the mental anguish she is experiencing.
All of a sudden, she doesn't want to work, she doesn't want to drive, and she got depression. I didn't understand.
She always felt like she didn't live up to our expectations, and she was always a disappointment to us.
I see a lot of pity in my mom's face when she looks at me. Mostly, I think she's just sad for me, and I can't handle that.
Amber feels like she's at breaking point with her family and her boyfriend, who is understandably very frustrated and worried. Her boyfriend takes her around and actually needs to slam the door on her to make sure she's fitting into the car, which is clearly an embarrassing moment caught on the cameras. She is almost immobile due to her weight, but it seems like the real reason she wants to lose weight is to have a normal life with her boyfriend after they revealed goals to get married. This unconditional love from her boyfriend is commendable, and Amber was determined to not let it be in vain as she took on the daunting challenge to lose weight. At 23 years old, she weighed a staggering 657 pounds, which at 5'3" must be one of the highest weight to height ratios ever. But she didn't let this stop her, and really did seem to use this shock as motivation to change her life. Shaun of Steel's episode on Amber was titled Amber Low Self-Esteem, and this was apparent throughout her journey as she was actually hospitalized at one point due to her anxiety causing too much stress on her body. Despite the challenges, she pushed through, with her family and her boyfriend supporting her, who she was always massively appreciative of. Once she changed her mindset from seeing herself as worthless to actually someone worth saving is where the true transformation begins. The weight dropped off throughout her journey and was accelerated by the surgery. 1 year into her journey, she had lost 267 pounds, which allowed her to get skin removal surgery. But not just that, she was actually able to leave the house and go and enjoy her life, such as going on an outdoor date with her boyfriend. Since the show, her natural beauty really has shone through, and she continues to post on her Instagram and gain comments in the community calling her an inspiration, which places her firmly at 5th place in our list. And Chuck Turner from season 2 takes 4th place, just due to the sheer amount of weight he lost throughout the show. However, he isn't exactly popular, as fans have called him selfish, greedy, and unmotivated. Chuck has definitely had a difficult life up till now, with his first wife actually being murdered and Chuck's weight spiraling out of control since this incident. When we first meet him, he's almost 700 pounds, living with his new wife Nissa, who lives more of a servant life to him and their adopted young son. Chuck is clearly ashamed of his weight, as when Chuck and Nissa first met, he didn't even get out of the truck to greet her, due to the shame of his obesity.
When I met Chuck, he was around 600 pounds. He was very shy and didn't want to get out of the truck and introduce himself properly because of his size.
Despite this though, Nissa took a chance on him, which many fans view as a mistake, with one commenter saying she married him out of pity. Despite this, Chuck still wanted to change and try and save his relationship with Nissa. When he met with Dr. Now, he weighed 693 pounds and begged for the doctor to do weight loss surgery. Despite this though, as soon as he left the office with the goal to lose weight to be approved for surgery, they went straight to a deep-fried seafood meal. You'd think that with all this in mind, Chuck would be unsuccessful and go down the same road as James King, who's featured in my previous videos and will probably appear in a future video on my 600 pound life. So make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any of my new 600 pound life uploads, and you can help me get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Surprisingly though, Chuck would actually be successful in his weight loss initially, losing 30 pounds and instantly being approved for weight loss surgery. In a shocking scene, after his wife had waited for almost an entire day in the hospital while he had the surgery, when she was about to leave, he got upset at her.
You leaving me?
You're gonna be fine.
Some wife you are.
Control.
Let's go ahead and go.
Marvin.
Yeah. Go. Let's get out of here.
And this attitude stayed with Chuck throughout the entire weight loss journey, and despite him losing hundreds of pounds midway through his journey, he continued to mistreat his wife and not help her doing basic chores. This culminated in month 6, with him losing almost 200 pounds. The day you probably expected to come earlier came, and Nissa served Chuck their divorce papers.
If we get this divorce, I can't go on because I don't have insurance. I won't be able to go to the doctor like I need to. I'm not going to be able to get my lymphedema fixed.
The way he acted throughout his episode was shocking to say the least, but that didn't stop him from pulling off one of the greatest transformations in the show's history, eventually dropping to 433 pounds, which is one of the biggest in terms of sheer amount of weight lost. And at 3rd place is Melissa Morris, who was by all accounts one of the kindest stars to appear on the show, so it was no surprise when she achieved her weight loss. Fans were ecstatic for her, but unfortunately her story did not have a happy ending. Melissa appeared on season 1 of the show and was one of the fan favourites from the beginning of her episode, as she clearly had a good work ethic and a sheer determination to change her life around. Her starting point wouldn't be easy though, as she was 31 years old and weighed 650 pounds. Despite this, fans quickly noticed just how kind of a human being she was, willing to change her life around so she could fulfill her dream of having kids. Melissa is the one person I've always rooted for with the show. I wish they would do another follow-up for her. Her husband was a POS though, and this statement was true, as her husband was actually found to be cheating on her throughout the show. Despite this, she embarked on her weight loss journey and was actually the first ever patient to be covered meeting Dr. Now, and she was one of the most successful. From the 650 pounds she started at, she managed to drop down to 150 pounds, losing 500 pounds in total. She was so proud of her weight loss that she was actually featured on a news program to show off the transformation, even showing the old pants that she used to wear. She genuinely seemed happy on this program, but behind the scenes was a different story. As she revealed on her Where Are They Now episode, she actually left her husband, but then got back together with him. After 10 years of following Melissa, it seems like she'd spiraled back into her old habits after staying in a strained relationship and going back up to 275 pounds. Despite this tough ending, the initial weight loss of 500 pounds is enough for her to land third on our list. If you're interested in her life, she's still active on Instagram, which is the same as the patient in second place who achieved an even more insane transformation than Melissa and was able to keep the weight off. Justin McSwain is one of the hardest workers ever to appear on the show, and he takes the second spot on our list for good reason. He appeared in season 7 of My 600 Pound Life, and fans were quick to show their love for not just him, but his father too, and it's truly heartwarming to see just how much his father pushes his son. And he really needed help, as he's shown at the start of his episode eating himself into an early grave, spending most of his time face down on his bed eating whatever food he can get his hands on, as he struggles to deal with his mental health issues. At one point, he almost has a panic attack in front of the cameras after receiving the wrong car from a rental company, which shows just how fragile his mental health really is.
I'm trying really hard not to spiral and have a panic attack, but I'm beyond my limit at this point.
When he first met Dr. Now, he was close to 700 pounds, and in the first 2 months, without surgery, lost 102 pounds, which is an absolutely incredible effort, and more than some patients lose in an entire year. And he didn't stop there. After his father moved to Houston to help Justin with his journey, the weight started to melt off. With his improved diet and increased physical exercise, which included going to the gym alone, which is a huge achievement for someone with his mental state and self-esteem issues, he pulled off one of the greatest transformations we have ever seen. Each time he saw Dr. Now, he would lose weight, losing hundreds of pounds between meetings and truly showing off his humble nature and can-do attitude. By the end of his journey, Justin weighed just over 300 pounds, which is an astonishing achievement, losing around 400 pounds in total. He got a tattoo to commemorate the journey, and his father asked to get the exact same tattoo in a show of true father-son love. We finally see Justin appear in a conference talking about just how much weight loss surgery had changed his life.
Weight loss surgery has made an incredible difference on my life, but one of the most important lessons I've gotten out of it is that it really is just a tool.
And alongside him is Christina Phillips, who undeniably achieved the greatest transformation on My 600 Pound Life, but it was not an easy road for her. Christina appeared in season 2 of the show and actually had a rough start to her weight loss journey, as after she had the initial meeting with Dr. Now, where she weighed 639 pounds, she was set the goal to lose 30 pounds. However, she actually ended up gaining 17 pounds, which isn't a great start. However, Dr. Now had some harsh words for Christina and her family, which you think would put her on the right track, but Dr. Now would soon be proven wrong.
A hamburger and a couple fries. I didn't finish the fries. I had like 3 slices of pizza the night that we got in.
Pizza is not part of your diet when you're 700 pounds. Granted, they hand you all those food, but you're gonna have to say no.
She was eventually placed into the hospital and into the care of Dr. Now, who put her on a strict 1,000 calorie diet. But because she didn't like the hospital food, her family would actually bring her fast food to binge on while she was fighting for her life. After a month in the hospital, she had only lost 4 pounds. Dr. Now took notice and called the family out, and what happened next would shock everybody. Further through the episode, Christina finally woke up and took the diet seriously. She was eventually approved for weight loss surgery, which accelerated her weight loss to the point where she weighed 390 pounds by the end of her episode, bringing her total weight loss to 266 pounds. But it doesn't end there, and the true transformation was on the Where Are They Now episode, where she showed the real end of her transformation. Christina was shown in this episode to weigh 160 pounds, which, as Dr. Now said, was actually too skinny for her height, and she had actually lost too much weight, which has got to be the first and only instance of someone being too skinny on the show. By the end of her episode, she got to a healthy weight and had the skin removal surgery, completing her transformation and going from looking like this to this. Not all of the patients on this list were the most loved, but some of the patients to see Dr. Now have been downright disgusting. And if you want to see what some of these patients have done and how they truly tested the doctor, click the video that's on your screen now to see the 7 deadly sins and the 7 heavenly virtues represented as patients of the show.
And so highly recommend you go and follow Big Craig, 31,000 followers.